thinking about having a baby and you're just kind of unsure if you should do it now or if you should wait a little bit, in this video, I'm going to give you a few things that you should consider before you actually conceive.
What is it you see? What is it you see? Tell me, what do you believe in? Would you keep your
So if you are thinking about having a baby, maybe you are already pregnant and you are unsure if you should keep the baby. There's so many different options, whatever route that you decide to go. But if you are thinking about keeping the baby, there's some things that you should consider. And me, I just will give you a little bit of background. I have 4 children. They are teenagers now. One is an adult. She's 21. Well, 2 of them are adults. One is 18, one is 21. And my other children are teenagers. And when I could see my kids, I was married. I had gotten married at 20. I got divorced at 30. But I was married when I had my children. So by God, by society, and how people, the order in which people feel that you should do things, that was the right way to go. But there are a lot of things that happen in life that you cannot predict, like divorce, like an absent father when having children. So there's some things that you might want to think about if you're deciding to keep the baby. So number one of the things that I would think about is if you're doing this alone or if you're doing this with a partner. It In 2025, it really doesn't matter if you're married or not, because like I said, I was married. I conceived all my children in a marriage, and I still ended up being a single mom. So I'm not going to be one of those people that tells you that you need to be married. By God, yes, and I am a child of God. So I do want to do what's right by God. However, it is 2025. There's all kinds of different types of couples, and they're conceiving in so many different ways. So if you are thinking about having a baby and you are in a relationship, some of the things that you want to consider is, or not in a relationship, some things that you want to consider is the cost of actually having a baby. So a lot of times people don't think about the fact that I don't know what everyone's insurance situation is looking like, but at the time when I had my babies, I was actually on government assistance and I received government insurance, which paid for the total cost of the baby. Back then, it was like $10,000 to have a baby in a hospital. That's what the bill was going to be, after you had the baby, that's what was going to get sent to your house. That just takes care of the delivery and the stay in the hospital. When you are having a baby, you have to have doctor's appointments every month leading up until I want to say you're about maybe 7 months, and then it goes to every 2 weeks. And then in that last month, it's every week you have to go to the doctor. They have to check on this. They have to check on the status of the baby, make sure that you and the baby is in good health as delivery is coming. So you just might want to consider that bill. Like I said, a lot of people don't consider that and a lot of people don't think about that, but it is absolutely an expensive bill. So that leads into my next point. You have to have a plan financially. So I would say for me, I was probably off work after I gave birth from anywhere from 2 months to 4 months. For me, I worked many different jobs at that time. I was not in the position in my life where I had a career. I was just working random jobs, whatever job, that I can take part time. Now, I would say for me, because I was married, now I didn't work right after the baby for at least 2 months, but I was not in a position where I had someone taking care of me. Although I was married, my husband at the time was not a provider. So I had to actually work. So I would have a baby and then I was scheduled to go back to work anywhere from, like I said, that next month to 2 months. And he decided at that time he wanted to be a stay at home father. So he was actually staying home to watch the baby while I was working. And that just continued on as we continued to conceive. And I would say, like, for me, even though I was married, all of my children except one was accidental. We actually used contraception during the marriage and we conceived on those nights that we did not use contraception. So a lot of you might think, so you might be thinking, why the hell would she keep having a baby with a man that does not provide financially? At that time, there was many reasons. The main reason being is the fact that I was a Pentecostal Christian. I was in church like crazy at that time. And just the religion that I was in was not, they didn't believe in contraception. Now, I used contraception, although that was not something that I was supposed to be doing at that time. But like I said, the times that we didn't, we conceived, and they definitely was not doing abortion or anything like that. And I don't know if I was in the mindset to do abortion at that time because I was kind of anti abortion just for, Christian, just for biblical reasons. And so for me, that wasn't an option. My babies are here today because I made the choice to have those babies despite my financial situation not being what it should be at the time. So those are some things financially you want to consider. And the other thing is when you bring your child home from the hospital, a lot of times people also are not thinking about the cost of daycare. When my children was little, daycare was about $500 a month. That was so expensive back then. I don't actually know what it costs now. I want to say it's about 1,000 for one child full time. So you have to have like some sort of plan set into place as to who's going to watch your child if you go back to work. If you work from home, is there going to be someone there to kind of help you assist the baby while you take care of business? If you are in a relationship, you have to decide, is one person going to work, is the other person going to stay home? There are so many different types of jobs out there that we can do from home. And you can make so much money online. There's so many ways to avoid having to pay for daycare and be present with your child at home. And it is definitely more beneficial. I will say that if you are able to spend that time that you need to at home with your child as long as possible before you have to go back to work, that is going to be the best option just for the both of you when it comes to development and things like that. But just as far as just the hospital stay, daycare, all of that, it can be really, really expensive. And I'm not even mentioning the price of formula and clothes and diapers. Like all of that stuff can be really, really expensive. So just kind of being, you know, financially stable is a really, really, really important thing. If you are not financially stable, you might want to really consider if you are going to want to be a mom anytime soon, or if you're already pregnant. Like I said, there's so many different options available. There is abortion, there is adoption. Those things are put into place, for those people who are conceiving unexpectedly and is not ready to have a baby. Another thing to consider is everybody loves babies. I mean, babies are freaking so cute. Like they are so cute. Like I just went crazy over my kids when they were little. Like I just kissed their little cheeks. They make the cutest little sounds. I mean, when they're like crawling and they're walking, I mean, they just look like these like cute little angelic little creatures until they hit about 2. When they hit the age of 2, like terrible twos kick in like crazy. And then it's just, uphill from there. I mean, babies turn into kids turn into teenagers turn into young adults. And it is a lot of work at every single stage. So there's never going to be a time period where it gets easier. My kids are teenagers. I have a 21-year-old as well. In my opinion, it just got harder. It's just harder. They still need me. They still depend on me. They're not super independent. And now it's just a different stress of like where they are, keeping up with them. They hang out with different friends, boyfriends, you know, just keeping up with their whereabouts is expensive. They're hungrier, like they're not in a position where they have stable income coming in at this age, so they still need a lot of support. So that doesn't go away, and I will say, even though I'm a grown adult, I'm 42 years old, I have 5 siblings. My mom still be so stressed about just keeping up with us and our whereabouts and what we're doing and where we're at. And, there's so many things. So you never really escape just being a mom and, having that time to yourself and, all of that. Like, that's not really a thing. So, like I said, that's something that you might want to think about before you conceive. Another thing to consider is you have things like ADHD, autism, Down syndrome. All of these things are increasing at a extreme rate. I don't actually know the stats. I will give you one based off of a Google search that I did a couple months ago. It might be different now, but I have an autistic nephew. We found out that he was autistic in 2000 and he was born in 2001. So it was in 2003 when I was about to give birth to my oldest child. And it came out of nowhere. Like it really just completely shocked all of us. Like no one even knew what autism was for real back then. Like it was just so foreign. And at that time, little did we know, it was one out of 116 children would be diagnosed with autism. You know, now it's like one out of like 36 or something like that will be diagnosed with autism. And it is more common in boys. So, they're all still trying to figure out why autism is a thing, what's happening. I have so many theories, and that's another video. But really, overall, American don't we don't have the best food here. We don't have the best resources to food. Everything is pumped with chemicals. Everything is cloned, and it is just a struggle to find things that are actually natural and organic, even if it says natural and organic. Kids eat so much cereal, hot chips. When they're babies, it is super, super, super important to consider breastfeeding. I actually didn't breastfeed, so I know that I might be contradicting myself a little bit. I did breastfeed for a very short period of time. Each one of my girls, I think I breastfed for at least a month, but it wasn't like 100%. It was like, pull it out at night when they wake up. I'm hungry. It was easier than getting a bottle. And, if we were somewhere and I didn't have time to make a bottle, I could just pull out the boob and just give it to them. But I struggle with making milk. I just didn't have milk flowing like that. So I was unable to breastfeed. With my son, I did breastfeed longer. I breastfed him for 6 months, but I did both the bottle and the boob. And he just got more of the boob than for a longer period of time than the girls did. And I would have kept going past 6 months with him, but we both ended up getting thrush, which is a infection. So I had to kind of, nip breastfeeding in the bud because it just was not easy for me when I had kids who just produce milk. I just didn't have it. But breastfeeding, I think it's helpful. And I think, just the milk that the powder milk that they give the babies, the Similac and I don't even know the names of all the milks and stuff like these days. Baby world is so foreign to me right now. But I do think as early as things like that. And then even going back to when you're pregnant, like what are we eating? What are we putting in our bodies? Like that goes directly to the babies. Are we taking care of ourselves fully? Are we working out? Are we staying, hydrated? Are we keeping ourselves from being stressed and overwhelmed? All those things are super, super, super important. Like I don't know if you can really fully prevent things like autism or ADHD or Down syndrome. I don't know if you can prevent things like that, but having a baby means that you're going into the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen if you're going to have sort of a situation like that. Back then, my sister was one of the only families that I knew that was dealing with autism. Now, I have so many friends. Like, I feel like all of my friends have at least one autistic baby. Some have two. None of my kids came out with autism. My oldest does have a intellectual delay and ADHD. My second oldest also has ADHD. But aside from that, they're pretty functional. They, do everything like a normal teenager. I don't have to give them extra, extra, extra care for the most part. My oldest a little bit extra care, but she still lives and acts like a normal functioning teenager. So I got, really blessed. I think for me, once I kind of found out about my nephew, I started to put a plan in place as to what I was going to avoid, the things at that time that I thought was contributing to the autism. At that time, I thought it was the vaccines. So I they didn't get all of their vaccines at one time. I just thought it was crazy to pump a newborn baby in the leg with 5 different vaccines not even a month after coming out of the belly. So things like that I thought was kind of crazy. And just think about that if you're going to be the type of mom who is going to be able to handle that sort of thing. And honestly, like life happens and you're not able to plan this stuff all the time. And when it comes across your lap that you might have a child with a disability, most parents are just going to take that on like Superman. But I also will tell you that most of us parents often will say, if we had to do it again, we might not. And it doesn't mean it's nothing against the child. It's just that you don't really realize how much work goes into things like that. And if you have multiple children, you still have to give attention to your other children. So, yeah, I wanted to make sure I keep this video short. And I will be hitting on this topic in other videos because there's so many things to know about, the good and the bad. I always want to be transparent with you and just give you like things from my point of view, my experience. I never want to convince anyone to not, multiply. Like, at the end of the day, there's so many positives to having children. I mean, I've been a single mom for 10 years, and before I got divorced, I was still the sole provider of them, and I did pretty much most of the things by myself. But for me personally, as extremely hard as it was, I wouldn't change it. My kids are my best friends, like literally. Like, they are my cheerleaders, they are my circle, they are my team, and I can tell that they just love me dearly so much. Like, it's kind of emotional for me. So as hard as it's been for me, I would not change it. But there was definitely times that I wanted to just drop them off for somebody else to raise them. And I felt like that many times because it's financially a struggle when you don't have the finances to care for your children. Being a mom is a full-time job, like literally, that you don't get paid for. You just get rewards for it, but you don't get paid for it. And we live in a society where everything costs money. So I don't know if there's countries out there where a mom is just able to produce children and literally be at home and not have to do anything. And I know you can do that in this country if you have a rich husband. That's possible. But in my opinion, that's the kind of setup you have or should have to be able to successfully, in the best way possible, experience being a mom. I wish that I would have been able to really just be home with my children more. I wanted to participate in all the different things. My children got robbed of being able to do sports. I mean, I tried to get them into different things so many different times, but me personally, I did not have a support system. I still don't have a support system. So I was not able to be multiple places at the same time. So I have a lot of regrets with wishing that I was able to get my son into sports, go to all the games, get my daughters into sports or extracurricular. At one point they did do ballet. We've tried a lot of different things, but it never was something that I was able to follow through with completely because I was not able to, like I said, be multiple places at one time and work. And then when you're off work, you're exhausted. And I've never been able to work part time or not work at all. That's just never been my setup. I've never been able to have the privilege to do that. So if you are a woman who has the privilege to be home with your child 24/7, I would say absolutely 100% have a child. But if you are not there financially yet, I don't recommend it. It's just going to be really hard for you. And like I said, went through a lot of stuff. I went through a lot, and it was very, very hard for me. And because I had multiple children, that just made it 4 times harder than it needed to be. So, if you are able to choose right now on what you want to do, if you're already pregnant, go talk to someone. Go to first of all, talk to God. Have a conversation with God, because honestly, like, although I had my children early and I had them before I was financially ready, the only reason that I am able to be even somewhat successful in this is because of the man upstairs. Like, he literally has been my husband. He has literally been my support, because I don't know how I've been able to do it. And I'm not going to say that I'm successful in doing it. Like, I'm definitely not by any means the best mom. But I will say that I'm not a horrible mom, and I make sure that I put them first. But before I put them first, I've been putting myself first, because if I don't put myself first, I'm not going to be able to parent my children in the best way possible. mentally. So definitely prioritize yourself. And like I said, if you decide that you want to go forward with having a baby, even before you're financially ready, you will be okay. It's just going to be a little bit harder. So those are some things I just want you to consider. Think about, like I said, I will have another video on this topic because there's so many other things to cover, good and bad. And I want to share my experiences with you. So if you like this, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe because I will be producing a lot more videos for you to go through and see different topics. Like I said, I have so much advice and I want to try to give it in the most humble way possible. I never want to come off like I know everything and I've been through everything, but I will say I've been through a lot. Trust me. And I am an open book. I am willing to share my life with you and my experiences just so that I can try and save you from taking the hard way around. Take a shortcut. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Peace out.